Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host, Chantele Francis, here with me today to talk about the Challenge World Championship, Episode 4, World on Fire is Michelle. How are you today, Michelle?
I'm good. I really enjoyed this episode. Yeah, it was again kind of like a classic episode, and I'm happy to see that there are people willing to try to do something. While it may not have happened this episode, the wheels are turning more and more, which keeps me a little more interested. Couple things annoyed me, but overall, I enjoyed it.
Couple things annoyed you.
Not extremely. You know what I mean? Like, no, nothing crazy, but we'll get into it.
So Matthew should be joining us soon. I'm not sure when, and hopefully it'll be before we get through this episode, because when it's 45 minutes, sometimes we can zip through it pretty quickly, but we'll see what happens. We're happy to have him whenever he's able to pop on. So the last episode put me on the not a big fan of Jonay side of things. And she started this episode bitching to Ben. And in my opinion, she was completely lying about how Kellyanne was reacting, being like, she yelled at the top of her lungs at me. And when she just was like, enough. Like, that's all she said, but we got a flashback. What did you think about how Jonay is kind of playing victim here?
100%.
Misrepresenting like how Kellyanne was actually acting.
That's exactly what I was about to say. She's just misrepresenting the situation, and it's very frustrating because she's using someone like Kellyanne who is going to react genuinely and emotionally to things and is using it against her in a way that like she doesn't need to at this point. Like there was no reason for it. It'd be different if it was going to affect, you know what I mean? Like her being in the game. Anyways, it was just bothersome to me, and she's just playing victim, and she just has a smugness about her that I'm really like is off-putting to me. Mm-hmm. It's giving me like the parts about Tori that I don't like, when it's like the sense of entitlement, like I'm owed this. I've been here so long, I've done all these things, like this is what's owed to me. And if someone's my friend outside of it, but they're being like, it's like you're doing it because Kellyanne isn't your friend in the world of the people that you hang out with in the challenge.
Or in this particular game, I think she wants to be like seen equal as people that won the MTV version, because she never even came close to a final on any MTV version that she has played. And so she's now goes against some people that are like at least 10 years her senior, and she's able to pull out a win here, 2 back-to-back, which I thought was impressive to be able to repeat it. But like she wasn't playing against even Tori or Casey or, you know, against these people that have also have won in recent years. And so I think that she is feeling like she doesn't, okay, have you ever had the experience or seen the experience maybe in a show or in other circles of friends where it's like you go to like a new school and like you were the top dog at your old school, but then you come to a new school and like you see the cool kids and you're like, shit, I want to be the cool kid. So you dump the one friend that you made because they weren't cool, and you want to hang with the cool kids. That's what I feel is happening. I feel like she doesn't want to be seen in public with Kellyanne with the new kids, the cool kids.
Yeah, because Kellyanne is not like doesn't try to be cool. She's authentically herself.
Absolutely.
And I don't think it actually was a liability to Jonay the way that she was making it seem as if it was. It reminds me of something I would have done if I was like 16, 15, you know what I mean? Like just a little bit immature.
Absolutely.
Like you could use her to your advantage. She's always going to be a shield in front of you. She's always going to get voted in before you, and she's never going to vote against you. She was never going to vote against you. And it's unfortunate, but I mean, it also sucks for Kellyanne because now Kellyanne even more so is in the shit under the stick because Jonay is really good at socializing and getting herself in with it. It's one of her pros as well as a player. And so Kellyanne's just going to sink even deeper. Yeah, but thank God at least this week wasn't as much. I was happy with Wes and Zara's decision. You know what I mean? All things considered. But we'll get in. Yeah.
We got some friends joining us today. Over here. Hello. Can't wait for us to be going live. We are going live. I know, we know that Survivor is going to be happening in about 10 minutes, but we needed to get this in quickly. So
no spoilers, please.
No spoilers as it's happening. We're not watching it yet. As soon as we get off this line, we're going to go back. Well, Michelle's going out, but I'm going to go back and watch the episode. So no spoilers about Survivor. And if you have to pop up to watch the show live, We totally understand. We're at an abnormal time right now. So thank you for being here at this moment. Anyways, Sophie is here. So Sophie didn't know that some of these players are going to be on the Challenge USA season 2. I'm actually very disappointed by that because I like the fact that the opposition right now on this particular season is the MVPs being like, wait, we don't want to play these MVPs game or these legends game. We want to play our own game. And so having them come into the USA season 2, it's just like it's already going to be the legends or the
they just come and take
game.
over everything. And we're talking as people who love the OGs and like love some of the players that we see time and time again. But it's like, that's what was annoying to me about this episode, because even when, you know, Danny and them start talking about potentials for, we need to try to get, you know, a big player out like Jordan, it's like they loop Wes in with them because Wes is sort of part of it, but Wes has always been on the outs of those people. He's not really in there. Mm-hmm. So I feel like he's not the right person for the other side to go for, because he's someone that will work with anybody.
Absolutely.
Like, he's malleable. Tori has shown time and time again she's not malleable. Banana's medium low, not malleable, right? Like Jonna, not malleable. Like all these people are not. They're gonna stick with that. And it's Tori keeps giving this excuse. We have these relationships. Okay, so what happened when you were a rookie and you made it to the end? Like, do you not have any, like, I don't know. It pissed me off. Anyway, sorry. I'm kind of jumping around the episode,
but like all good. I mean, that's basically what the whole episode is about, is the fact that the MTV legends are coming in trying to dictate the games of these new players. And these new players are like, wait, this is our season. This isn't MTV. You're coming on to our season. We qualified to be here. We chose you as our partner. This is our game that we should be playing. And that's why it's annoying me that the legends are taking control and making it their game. Because like in my opinion, that's not the way it should be. Like,
exactly. And then it's ruining the opportunity to bring in people, as Ruby is saying over here, from different shows and stuff like that, that haven't been on the challenge before, other Love Island epics, other Survivor epics. But I guess after this world thing, my guess is that the MTV challenge is just going to become one at that point. Because then what's the difference? One's on CBS, one's like, at that point, they're all on the same show. It's the same show. It's the same show. So then just make one.
Do we want that?
I don't think they're going to have like that and then the MTV 39. Because then it's like, does that count as 39? Like, because they're going to want to
do amount, right? So
well, yeah, but the thing is, they're going to want to do a season 40, right? In 2 seasons. Mm-hmm. So it's like, are they doing that? And they're doing MTV USA 2 on Paramount, and they're going to do All Star. Like it's just
too much.
It's confusing for a viewer, I think. I don't know. It's confusing.
Yes, Jessica, Jonna is still playing the victim, and it's a big eye roll to me. And I said it last week. It's just, to me, it's discredited both of her wins, in my opinion, because I don't think she's like a social master or genius anymore. I don't think that she's like really great at strategy. I think that she's kind of lucked into a really good situation those past 2 times. Yeah. And she was more physically fit than the people that she was playing with. And nobody sees her as a threat, so they allowed her to get to the end. Like, that's kind of what happened both times. And I think that it's just showing that I don't really enjoy her as a player, even though I think I have her on my team for like all my drafts. At least one of them for sure. I'm like, Hi, Danielle. So Danielle says hello to us. This episode is kind of boring for me. Vets are boring. Yes, at least Danny is clocking them. Danny and Sarah. Are we rooting for Sarah now that Sarah
honestly, I mean, she's not pissing me off. Like, and I don't know. I think maybe that will come. But it's like, when you have a group that is so immense and strong, and there's so many of them, and you have people just like a Danny and a Sarah and whoever kind of trying to do something, it's like, obviously I'm always going to root for the thing that isn't the big group. Because like, that's boring for a big group to just stampede through, even if it does have some of my faves in there.
I just watched them for 5.5 months. I just watched these people for 5.5 months.
We literally just watched Jordan and Tori for 10 years.
And bananas.
And I just like, I need a break from it. And
sick of their face. Sick of hearing their voice.
Like, Make
I'm
me
done.
want you again. You know what I'm saying? Like
I'll never
at
want
least Wes wasn't
Joey.
in the last season. And what's pissing me off is like that they're trying to involve Ben and like it's a recipe for disaster. Ben A is someone who will flip at any time, doesn't trust Sarah, even though they were both against Tyson, doesn't matter. He's a loose cannon. And he's partnered with Casey. The number one thing Casey's doing, I'm sure, right from the beginning, is making sure that
He's in line.
he's manipulated to feel what her side feels.
100%.
Which I mean, I guess kudos to that, whatever. But
I think we see that next episode that Ben's
Yeah.
not in with the MVP side of things. I roll.
Eye roll.
Hi, Sarah. I know you're not watching, but it's going to be something that you could be able to binge like eventually and just be like,
Yeah, the episodes are
45-minute episodes. So yeah, I know you're not watching now and you don't care and you don't want to see Banana. she doesn't watch MTV at all.
Love that.
Got Sean or Steven is here. Hello. All right. Jessica says, I respect Johnny All-Stars win. The second one, maybe.
The second one more than the first one. We know about the first one.
Sketch. First one is like super
both
sketch.
other teams both other teams in that final at the end were snubbed, in my opinion. Both other teams performed better and deserved the win more, and there was some shifty play going on with production during that. Second win, yes, she got that win, sure.
Exactly.
Great. I agree with this.
But I'm still wary though about like, she had the treehouse of all the youthful people in the game, the people that I didn't even think that should have been in All Stars, like people that were like less than the age of 30. So, she won 2 times in a row. Fine, I'll give that to her, sort of. But I'm kind of like, it is off-putting. She's been off-putting to me, and I don't care for her wins anymore. And I'm like, everybody's like Jonna all day. I'm like, Jonna maybe yesterday, but not today.
Yeah,
not all day anymore. Not for me.
It is off-putting. I agree. Mm-hmm. It's off-putting. Yeah.
So Tristan is saying to Zara that he's been putting out fires with Kellyanne. I kind of wish that we saw a little bit more of her, like what Kellyanne's doing. They're just showing the same clip of her saying to John, hey, like, you're lying to me, like, enough. Like, that should be fine.
I don't think she's doing too much else. Like, besides maybe complaining to a few other people about it and trying to kind of avoid John A or whatever. Like, I feel like it's like, when there's one awkward altercation.
Can you keep talking? Amazon is calling me for a delivery. So keep talking.
I just feel like when there's multiple people, like there's one confrontation and you're talking and there's a heated moment, that's going to kind of springboard and everyone else is kind of saying like how awkward it is and how much she's a loose cannon and all this stuff. But like, yeah, there hasn't really been much else in terms of footage. To show that she's being like completely unhinged. Not to say that I do wish that she could have like hidden things a little bit better. Like I wish she could fake nice a little bit better. And then get John A later. Like that would be more epic, but it's not really in Kellyanne's nature. You know what I mean? Yeah, it does suck that Nathan wasn't there because he didn't really get a fair shot. Obviously, he didn't get a fair shot at all. Especially since, I don't know if you guys listened to Banana's podcast, but he talked about how sick he was. And even though he tested for COVID and was negative, he thinks he probably had it. That's why his voice is kind of scraggly for a while. And it's like Nathan had to leave, but Bananas got to stay. Questionable. Yeah, Sarah's willing to go against the vets, which is something that, we do want. Okay, how's that?
I didn't. He couldn't find my door. I was like, just it's open. It's there. Just go. Anyways, I didn't hear what you said, but I wish that we could see more, at least, of what John A was doing.
Yeah, I was just saying I don't know necessarily that Kellyanne's doing as much as they're saying. I think they're blowing one or two conversations out more extremely. You know what I'm saying? Like making it seem like, oh, because she had that one moment. She's so unhinged. And they're like, it's all being like spread. And because she doesn't hide it in her face, they like see a face. They're like, oh my God, she's so angry. Oh, she's so this.
But like, okay. I don't know, like, since when do people have to be contained in their responses? Like, whenever I've played any of these games, like, yeah, you might want to take care of people and so that they don't blow up, but like, I would still like not care that much that like my part, like, I don't know. I just don't think that Kellyanne's doing that much at all. And I'm
Yeah.
just like kind of annoyed that they're making her look like she's so unhinged when she really was done dirty. And she has
Yeah.
every single right to
She
react in any way that she wants. If her friend, something that she thought was a friend, is stabbing her in the back, and she knows how she usually reacts to things, like, then don't do it.
exactly. I'm so angry about it. And like once again, Kellyanne is just going to be put in the position where she's going to be put into elimination maybe every other time until
Yeah.
she eventually loses. And she's never going to have a chance. It's unfortunate.
Well, maybe not. Okay, so
Yeah.
what we see this episode starts happening is that we see Bananas and Casey talking about Wes. It's all about Wes, and Wes is going around speaking with Grant and Troy and talking about how he's so smart and he's such a great businessman, venture capital, all these things that I don't know anything about. And so we're seeing that it seems like Team USA is anti-West, and as well as Team Australia
Mhm.
is anti-West, which is Team UK. So what do you think about how everybody seems to be turning on West now? Even though no matter what, I felt like West was going to be in a bad position after the whole
Yeah.
everything that happened last week. I couldn't really pinpoint exactly why, but like now I'm noticing, I'm like, well, yeah, they're anti-West.
Yeah, I think this is what he it's like the things that bananas says about how he always says this on his podcast and just in the show that like every time he comes on a season, no matter what, he's a target. There's people against him, blah, 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 blah. And okay, like in some senses, I understand what he's saying. It has happened to him before, but like in my opinion, like Wes is the person that season after season, there's always like large groups of people
After
who
him.
really want to go after him. And the people who are half aligned with him are still willing to be like, yeah, sure, whatever, because they're like, you know what? I don't want to be in the
Evelyn's like that as well. It just reminds me of Fresh Meat
Evelyn, exactly.
too.
Like I don't like in the back of their minds for bananas and stuff. He's like, you know, fine, Wes is fine. Obviously, he's not going to put me in, but do I really want Wes in the finale? Probably not. Like, right? So I feel like it's always kind of that. I'm kind of hoping that like maybe there's a way for Wes to figure this out and work with the Dannys and this and this and that. My other issue is why do they have to vote as a team? Because I thought each person gets their own vote. Why do
No,
they vote as a team?
well, no, I think they do vote as a team, but I
But
think each
why?
team member, no, I mean, I think they vote singularly, but they say their votes as a team. So they have two teams that they need to vote in. I think one person says one team and the other person says the other team.
No, but they didn't do that. Like if you watch the whole part where they list where everyone does their votes, Tori's like when Tori and Danny's, she's like, she goes first and she goes, our votes are for the Jordy and whatever and Kellyanne and whatever. And that's what she says. And then they go to the confessional and she tells them, like, yeah, obviously we're not going to put in Jordan, blah, 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 blah. And every other team goes, this is our team vote. This is our team vote.
Well,
and
some people
they
were saying it
announce
separately, but yeah, maybe.
so, but like I wonder, obviously, if the two teammates were arguing to the point where they were like, no, I'm making my own vote, maybe it would be different. I wasn't sure. I was
mean,
just confused by that.
I guess they must have to agree on the votes because like they
Yeah.
need to do two separate teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, um, I guess I don't know. I mean, they're obviously not showing us everything. We'll get to the vote though, because there's some interesting things that happened
Yeah,
during the
sorry,
vote.
yes.
Beforehand, we see Tora salsa dancing with Rodrigo. I had to eye roll because, like, I'm just like I'm not buying anything that Tori sells, like any of her flirtations, any of her social gameplay. I'm just like, whatever, Tori. Like, we get it. You're a fun chick to hang out with. And so who said Tori is a genius? I wrote down Tori is a genius in quotation. Did Rodrigo say this? I think he did actually.
Maybe.
I'm just like, genius with Tori? Like, come on, man. No. We do see Naya and Jordan talking. So this was the first time where I'm like, okay, Naya's introducing into this episode. We see Rodrigo dancing with Tori. I'm like, okay, I feel like it's going to be about this team. A lot of it this episode. Nia talks about her health scare. We did hear about it, but what exactly happened though from vaping too much? Like I don't even understand what could
I
have,
don't know the
close to
details
death.
of it. I
That's
think she
wild.
got some sort of, maybe she had like a heart
Infection,
attack or
heart
infection,
attack.
or
Ooh.
I don't know.
I
I
don't.
literally am making this up. I
I
have
know.
no idea. I
I'm just.
literally am fully speculating. I don't
I'm
know.
just responding to those being possible speculations.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe it could be a heart attack because,
Or like, like some sort of, I don't know.
I feel like it'd be a respiratory like infection would be
Probably.
my guess.
That would
And
make more
maybe she
sense.
wouldn't be able to like breathe or something like that. So maybe
Mhm.
her throat closed up. I don't know. I don't know, but that was really intense to hear. And she kind of takes it as her sabotaging herself. And so she's so happy that she was able to come back and compete on the season because she originally was supposed to be on 38, supposed to be with partners with Jordan. I would have been so much happier with this season if like she was partnered with Jordan on
It would have been
38.
fucking amazing. And he probably never would have hooked up with Norris.
True. Yeah, that'd be too much fire for him to be dealing with. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that wouldn't have happened at all. So poor Jody. Jody's like, I don't even know where my partner is, Benha. And you see him out meditating. And I'm one that meditates. I understand the power of positive thinking and putting intentions into the universe or whatnot. But I can tell that it would be frustrating for Jody, who has played these games for many years now. And it's just like, we kind of got to get our head in game mode here because we're probably going to be going in. We're on Team Argentina. We have the least amount of numbers. It's going to be really easy for people to say our names again.
Mm-hmm.
Poor Benha, though. I don't think he gets it.
No.
But she's talking to Darrell, and I was like, I'm happy that she at least has like old school Darrell connection because I want Jody to be there for a long time, but I think it sucks that she's stuck with someone from Argentina because I don't really think she has a shot to get to the end.
Yeah, I think if she was with someone from not Argentina, she wouldn't be under fire right away, but she still is never going to be in a great position in this type of format because she's just out of the legends. She's not in the in crowd. And like Darrell's with her, but he still voted against her because like that was the majority. And
I'm so bored with the majority.
You know,
I know I would do it too. If I was playing the game, I would probably be trying to hide. I wouldn't necessarily be making big moves if I didn't have a group behind me to back it up. So I get it, but like it's just not. It's like MTV, the legends have realized how to make a season the most boring and the most predictable. Right. And that's what they're doing. And I'm like, I still want it to be spontaneous. So get these legends out of here with their predictable seasons and their vacation alliance and their, I'm not voting this person in because they're going to play in future seasons with them. I'm like, I don't want any of that. I want these people figuring out how to play their own damn game. That's what's interesting to me. So I feel bad for Jody though and Darrell that are just like gonna have to just follow suit because they don't really have anybody that's willing to go up against the big numbers.
Exactly.
So annoying. So Danny does want to get out Wes, which I think was interesting. That Wes is one of the people that he wants to get out. Now, do you think that's because Wes is not attached to USA specifically?
Yeah. I think he sees it as like, okay. I think he's smart and understands that the people who are winning, who have the highest chance to win finals, are Wes, Jordan, and Bananas. He knows that Jordan is less likely at this moment with Tori as his partner to get voted in. It leaves Wes and Bananas. Bananas is partnered with Justine. He's connected to Justine in a way. Obviously, he's not going to want to get rid of them just quite yet. And so I feel like Wes makes sense. He's got a UK person that Danny doesn't even know. He has no relationship with. They're a strong team. So I understand why he came to that conclusion.
But then also though, Kaz and Theo. So Theo is partnered with Sarah, and that would kind of lead me to believe that Theo is not necessarily going to want Wes to be the person targeted because he might want Kaz to be in, the final with him. Like if they're going to be switching around partners in the final, who knows what's going to happen at the actual final.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I don't think he sees at this point, like people like Casey is with Ben, right? And so at this point, he's not going to go for that. But also I think he's more focused on what male is going to be my biggest competition in the end. And it's those three. And Wes is the only person he can out loud at this point try to fight against, because there's always going to be people who are like, oh, it's Wes. He's chatting with everybody. It's a good person to throw, you know what I mean? So it's very smart, but I'm hoping that like maybe things will shift a little bit. I'm not sure. Also, like, we never saw Yes like this entire episode, which was like, I was happy. I think he got like one confessional. I'm like, just go for Yes, get rid of Yes. But like, I understand why he wouldn't.
Yes with even? I don't remember. Oh, is that Emily?
Emily, which I like Emily.
They're working with Australia though, I think. So
right.
At this point.
I mean, I don't know. I understand why he's going for Wes at this point. He's stuck with Tori, so like, what is he supposed to do? Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Well, let's see what happens, but
well, we got to hear what Matthew has to say about this episode so far. We're just right before the daily. So we're kind of we first off just been talking about how we feel as though John A is playing the victim and, is calling Kellyanne liability and all this stuff that we didn't really think was warranted. We talked about how all of a sudden now everybody's turning on, not all of a sudden, but everybody's turning on Wes. And talking about how poor Jody and Darrell are not really able to do anything but follow suit because they're not in the numbers. They're not with the Australia and USA alliance.
Yeah, not much that they can even do here, which is I'm really not liking the format. I thought I was going to like it much more, but now that we're 2 episodes into the actual format, I'm realizing it honestly doesn't even matter who wins the daily because the house is going to vote 2 teams in. So for the next like 3-4 weeks, essentially, we could lose like someone from the majority alliance if they come in last in the daily, which that part is nice. But the fact that the winning team doesn't really have that much power is pretty unfortunate, at least now. Season that might change, but yeah, like you said, like someone like Darrell can't really do anything because if he goes along with these plans and say throws in a Jordan or a Wes, the team that wins the daily will just save them.
Oh yes, save them, exactly.
I wish they would at least do private, separate voting.
Yeah, it's not,
because then it's like someone could be like, okay, I'm gonna do it. People don't feel brave when you've got all these people staring at you, being like, I'm voting this and this. Like, I would be way less inclined to rock the boat at that point. So annoying.
So what did we think of this daily? So we see Bryony. They are the host of Australia. They're with TJ, and basically they're going to be running through the gates of hell, and so running back and forth, having to run together and get to the other side before like the wall shuts down. How do we feel about this daily? It's something new that we haven't seen before.
Yeah, I thought it was. Honestly, at first I was like, "Oh, cool! Like they've never done anything like this that I've seen, and it's going to be fun." But I don't know. There was nothing hellish really about it, and oh man, I don't know. It was a weird challenge. I don't know, but in a way, it was fun, right? Like, and honestly, Wes doing that freaking cartwheel majig at the end there, I was like, Danny, how did you let this happen? But I was also so happy that Wes was safe. But I was like, that's crazy. So that was like the highlight for me.
I liked the daily. I didn't love it. I liked it. I think it could have been a bit better if they split them up into like 3 separate heats instead of everyone at once. I thought the first round or the first 2 rounds, when at the end of that second round, like 10 teams got eliminated, that part was like kind of lame. But at the end, when it was just the 3 teams, I thought that looked much cooler. And to see, I mean, when I saw that elimination, I instantly thought, like, no way Danny and Tori are going to lose this one. So I was really impressed that Wes ended up pulling ahead there and beating Danny as well. But
so what seemed to have happened was Zara was holding back Tori and Danny apparently, and that's why Wes was able to get away and get ahead of them. Is because Zara was kind of.
I was wondering how he got so far ahead to the point that he tripped, fell, twirled, and still beat Danny, who is so fast, like by far the fastest. So I was like, what happened? So I guess, okay, so she was holding them back. Did you see the part when Zara like gave her the fingers? Because Tori was like yelling at her, and oh, it was great. So
Zara's so fast. Everybody was
yeah.
really commenting on how fast she was. And I'm like, man, I can't believe she fell to the last round because she's really proving to be an excellent partner. We have Wes saying that she's going to bring the animal out of her. How did you feel about animal Zara, Matthew?
I love Zara, and I think Wes is just so funny, and like I love seeing Wes in a format like this where like you're allowed to curse. Honestly, like when hearing Danny say "fuck" was like music to my ears. Just like I was like melting. It's just like nicest guy. Like I've only seen him on Survivor in the CBS version, and hearing Danny drop like a few F bombs was like hilarious to me. I really love like the Paramount version where they can just go all out, and these confessionals are just so much better than the flagship.
Yeah, so much better.
So much better. I love just people being like less edited and like a little bit more free. So one thing that I guess I didn't like about this challenge is that it was just too big, right? There's just too many people at the same time. Like maybe if it was a bigger space, I would have found it a little bit better, or they did 2 heats and then those 2 heats came together. I just felt that it was just too many people at once and I couldn't really see what was going on. And it kind of sucked that both you and your partner had to get through, but then at the last round, only Wes got through and he was able to win it for his partner. So it's like, there's one point where I saw Kellyanne. I'm like, oh yes, Kellyanne got through. She's doing so well. There's such a small group of them. And I'm like, oh, but Tristan didn't get through. So
I know. My first thought was like Kellyanne would do so well if it was individual. Because she's so small, she's fast. Maybe not as fast as Zara, but she would make it like pretty far to the end, I would assume.
I think that would have been a fine twist then. If we're going to have these big numbers of people being like, you need to have at least one of your team members get through to continue on. Mm-hmm. And I think that would have kind of fixed everything. You know, I mean, like Kellyanne would be competing by herself against people that had both their partners in there, but I just think that would have been a little bit better. Mm-hmm. It just would have worked better for me. But I did enjoy it, though. I thought it was still pretty fun and nice and new. Yeah. Something we definitely haven't seen before. So, like we said, Wes does some fancy footwork, a little cartwheel front flip as the sliding under, like that's like intense. Like, I don't know if I'd have the guts to do that. Like,
no, I would not.
Be like, oh, should I just gonna?
I don't want to get crushed.
It seems awful. No. So I was very impressed by how people are just sliding in there and diving in there and just really going for it when there's no like protection crash mats or anything. I was like, dangerous gates of hell for sure. So Wes and Zara are going to be winning this one. We get that confessional from the pop-up over the stats or whatever, that he's scared to have Wes in power. Is he though?
He doesn't have the power to nominate you though. Exactly. So it's like, so it doesn't matter. I mean, so far he's really under the radar. Yes. I mean, once Kellyanne, like if these teams are all gone one by one, then of course he'll be next, I think, because his partner isn't US. And I mean, you never know. But like,
yeah, what I was thinking, and I mean, jumping a bit ahead here, like in the preview for next week, there was a moment where they're like, I think we need to take out a big threat next week. Like, I don't buy that for a second. I think like when they say big threat, like they're not referring to themselves. Like I think it was Tori and Bananas and Casey in the conversation.
Yeah,
so
it's gonna be like
obviously they're not. Well, I think what they're referring to is Yes or John A,
yeah, fine.
Which is like naturally the next two up there. It's like, okay, sure, like they're a threat, but they're like not a threat in terms of like the numbers. Like they're a threat in the final, but like they're on their own. They're on an island.
Yes, and Emily, absolutely. You're totally bang on. I was just being facetious because like, come on, Kellyanne and Tristan, they're just a good number for you. And like, yes, she might be threatening in a final, but like she's not.
She isn't. There. She's never won a final.
And she's been to many.
And she's been to like almost every time. Almost every time she comes in a season, she makes it to a final, more times than not. And she's got great endurance, but she can't do puzzles well. She's not always awesome under pressure. She's not consistent in that way. And things always bad. Like sometimes she has bad luck, I think, as well. And it's never worked out for her. So the fact that people are claiming she's this giant, like, it's like, she's a tiny little queen. Like, just let her be for a
Let
bit.
her be. Let her be. I agree. So at the end of the challenge, though, Kiki dives towards like on top of all the players. Because apparently whoever's the last to kind of get, I don't know if there was a line or touch the wall, whatever it was, is going to be considered the bottom. And so I wasn't sure if this was going to play out, but obviously I should have assumed because they showed it was going to be important. But just to note that she did dive. And I did notice when they did the playback later on in the episode that Naya kind of just walks over to the wall. Like as soon as she realized she wasn't going to get through, she literally stopped.
Yeah, I think she forgot, like didn't realize, didn't understand that she was going to have to go in. I honestly don't think she, in the moment, she just thought, oh, I didn't make it. Wasn't, because, you know, the rules are different every season. You never know, right? Like, I think she just in that moment was like, oh, and like didn't really realize it, which is a big error. I know. I'm just so disappointed. But yeah, it does look like she just kind of was like, oh,
like
whatever.
Walked like mosey, like, oh, I'm not gonna win this one. Like, and like, but look at Kiki, like diving in to make sure she's not last. And
that was boss move. I love Kiki so much.
Well, we do learn that because of this, TJ is like, hey man, Kiki, that dive saved your game because Naya, you end up coming in last. How I would feel like shit if it was my fault that we didn't, just at least we're safe. Maybe we're still gonna be thrown in, who knows? But we're last. That means that we are going in no matter what. Brutal. Why didn't I do that? Go ahead.
I think with that, like I totally agree. Like great move by Kiki and like huge like brain fart by Naya there. But I do think like that in particular is another reason why I think this would have been a much better daily if it was in 2 different heats or 3 different heats. Like I would have actually liked to see the endurance side of things where like there's 4 teams going and then like how many rounds can they go before they tire out? Whereas here it was like, yeah, like eight to 10 teams lost at once. And sure, like Naya was a foot behind, but I would have liked to actually see everyone have a chance and like see who tired out first.
Absolutely.
So that was like the fact that Naya and Rodrigo just went straight in because 10 teams lost and they were a foot behind was like kind of anticlimactic there.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. Or maybe if they made the distance a little bit, the distance starts out really far and then it kind of gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. I mean, I don't know how they would be able to construct something like that, but you know, because then it would really like the first bit you'd see who's last if it was a far distance and they had to basically qualify to not be in last place. So that might have been a way to fix that at least the first round or the qualifier round for who's going to be in last. So USA is just going to keep it simple because they're just going to vote in the same people that they voted in the last time. Matthew, the person that most hates having big groups of people in alliances, how'd you feel about USA's strategy here to like not rock the boat?
Well, I think Ben Ha said it best. They're a bunch of pussies. So that was my favorite line of the episode. And as you can see in my name, I'm now not just a Danny stan. I'm a Ben Ha and Danny stan. So yeah, I mean, it's like super weak. It's like I understand the idea of like we're playing seasons with each other year after year, but like these people like Bananas, like they also like go on their like he goes on his podcast talking about like how he's gonna like make the challenge like entertaining again. Like when CT was doing this for 2 seasons, Bananas is on his podcast saying, oh, this is like not fun, like I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna make it entertaining. It's like, dude, you're doing what CT did.
Absolutely.
But like CT actually won twice. Like you lost to Devin. And like
Devin wouldn't have been able to compete on this season. Like imagine him doing this particular daily. There's like
no, yeah, that would not have gone well. He'd be like he would ride this alliance like pretty far though. But I thought it was really funny early on. I don't know if you two touched on it before and I missed it, but when the USA people and like some of the rookies were talking about like, oh, we got to go for Jordan and Wes. Nobody mentioned bananas, and I was like dying at that. I was laughing, and I like then it's like flipping a bananas talking about well, we have to go after the same people as always, and it's like these people aren't even looking at you because they don't think you're a threat anymore. Like they think Wes is a threat, they think Jordan's a threat,
It's true. Wes
and
did just win.
I thought that was pretty fun.
I'm wondering if they watched All Stars 3, or like if that was one of the seasons that what they received to if they haven't watched a lot of the challenge, because that could be why John A was picked first. You know, if they'd just seen All Stars 3, they'd be like, okay, John A's good. Oh, Jordan was on there. He was a good player. Oh, Wes just won that one. So I'm wondering if that's why the target might be so big on them, is because of the fact that maybe that's a season that they were given to watch because it's on Paramount Plus. It's like, you know, easy for them to have access to, as opposed to going through MTV.com and going through all previous MTV seasons. So that's what I'm thinking, is that they got their information from watching Paramount's version of the challenge, which would be All-Star seasons. Just saying. So I do agree with you that he's not a threat, and like they probably don't think of him as a threat, but I also think that they haven't seen what he has done in the past, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And like not to say like bananas isn't a threat. Like realistically, like I love Justine. I think like she's definitely towards like the bottom of the females on the cast. Like someone like Jordan and Kaz, like that's a stronger pair in my mind. Like I know Justine did pretty well with eliminations in USA, but I would not be like scared of her necessarily. And like to me, like Jordan in a final is like the best anyways. So the fact that he's partners with someone that also won and was pretty dominant in her season, like that is a scarier pair. But I just thought it was pretty funny that they didn't even mention bananas
like,
when they were talking about the big threats.
It's like a rotten banana for sure. I did like the Aussies calling their little meeting kangaroo court, but they all want Jordan out, which is they should, because he's going to be threatening in a final. Absolutely. Danny, Ben, and Justine and Tori are all talking, and Danny is just like, we don't want to be playing your game, and Tori's like, we can't, we have to. And I was like so frustrated, because I'm like, I don't want Tori's love story, Tori's game to be ruining Danny's game. Like, Danny wants to play. Danny wants to take people out. Danny doesn't give two Fs, and you're just like neutering him. It's just annoying.
Honestly, at this point, I'm hoping that they split up at some point. Like, I don't even care, because at this point, it's totally affecting his game. How is he supposed to play when every single corner she's like, no, there's no way that
I don't want to rock the boat. We're just putting in Jody and Benha, and like,
it's so boring. Like
sweat a bit. You just won 500 grand. Like, just like sweat a bit. Like, play a little bit loose. You got house money. You're not so desperate for a win anymore. You got the money. I would like it. I don't know if, I mean, I'm just saying this as a viewer, and I don't know if I'd be acting the same. But if I just got $500,000 in my bank account from playing a previous season, I might be a little more loosey-goosey and more willing to make some entertaining TV, because like, hey, I got the bag already. So the fact that these winners are just so nervous, like you guys have more money than a lot of people make in their whole lifetime. Like, allow people to play the game, please.
Exactly.
I just wonder, like, what is the compromise going to be? Like it seems like the USA people, like the survivors, and some of the other rookies, like they want to make this swing, but like, and Sarah alluded to it at the end. And honestly, like, I hate to say this, but like, really kind of liking Sarah the last couple weeks.
We talked about this.
Just like, I feel like I have to, just based on how the season's going so far. But like, eventually they're going to compromise. And like, my worry is the compromise is just going to be like, okay, we'll take a shot at Wes and Zara.
That's what I'm worried about.
I feel like they're a little bit more isolated.
I agree.
The compromise.
I'm concerned.
Michelle, do you have to dip out?
I do have to dip out, but I will say my nominees for MVP this episode would be either Benha or Wes or Yeah, maybe Zara, but she wasn't really featured fully.
That's true.
So I'd probably go for Ben-Ha. He won the thing and all that. But Wes had the cartwheel, iconic. Either of those are my vote. Anyways,
bye, Mishy.
bye
See ya.
everyone.
Enjoy
See
Bye.
ya.
dinner. Bye. So over at the deliberation, pretty much everybody's following suit. They're just doing what they did before. So it's going to be Tristan and Kellyanne and Ben-Ha and Jody. But then Troy, he does Tristan and Kellyanne, but then he throws a vote on Theo and Sarah, saying that he was doing this for his partner. I didn't understand that actually.
Yeah, I didn't quite understand. I guess like maybe Amber and Naya have gotten
Oh,
close
Amber and Naya.
because
Okay.
yeah, which we haven't seen at all, obviously. I mean, Naya wasn't super featured the first few episodes. Neither has Amber really, but yeah, I think Troy said something along the lines of like or Amber might have said in a confessional after that Naya didn't want to go against another person from Argentina, so like Amber was gonna kind of like do the right thing and just throw a vote somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Um, didn't necessarily love that Troy like pinned that on Amber.
Right?
Just
It's,
because, yeah, like I don't want like Theo and Sarah coming after Amber now, which I don't think they would necessarily, but like why like just pin that on her? But yeah, I that's what I gathered from it.
no, that makes sense. But we haven't really seen that relationship, so it's just kind of like, who's she trying to protect? Like, I'm like, is she flirt? No, she has Chauncey. I'm like, I just didn't know. But yeah, if they're friends, then that's totally fair and fine. Jordan and Kaz, they also threw a vote onto Theo and Sarah. Why? I wonder.
Yeah,
Oh, I guess he's not going to do.
I
He's
didn't even
not.
catch that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could be wrong, but they voted for Jody and Ben-Ha, Theo and Sarah, and so I
Hmm.
guess it's another burn vote, sort of. I mean, is it just because
Yeah.
Kaz is with Theo, so it's like they know that like it's not a real thing, so they're not making any enemies,
Oh, maybe.
and
Yeah,
Jordan doesn't want to
that
do it
was weird.
on Kellyanne?
I might have like zoned out there for a sec because I was just like so rattled about all the same people getting votes. So I didn't even catch that they did that. It doesn't really make sense why they would, but yeah, that could be it. Just not to piss off Jody, I guess.
But no, they did piss off Jody because Jody then he does Ben and Casey, which I'm like, if you're gonna try to not do what everybody else does, you kind of have to pile it on like Theo and Sarah at this point because those are the other ones that have like numbers that maybe could be built up to so that you wouldn't have to go in. But they do Ben and Casey and then Jordan and Kaz. And I was like, what?
Mm.
But she's like, did Jordan and Kaz? I guess because Kaz and Jordan did her and Ben-Ha.
Well, I thought, didn't Jody say something about how she was
Yeah,
throwing a vote on Jordan because she wanted to like take a shot at Tori? And she said like this will hurt more if I put a vote on Jordan.
I guess. Yeah, she did say that, but
I
I'm like, I
think
guess
Jody
that's what
said
she
something
means.
like that.
Yeah, she said something like that
Yeah,
for
which
sure.
didn't.
And I didn't fully understand what she meant because I'm like, is that really going to hurt
Yeah,
her? Who cares? He's not
yeah.
going
If
in.
anything, like if I was Jody there and you want to like make your voice heard, I would have just put my vote on Tori and Danny and Jordan and Kaz and be like, hey, Jordan and Tori, you guys are running the game. I'm putting my vote on you as like a shot for the house. Like, hey, just so the house knows, these are the two teams to watch, which makes sense because those two teams together are very well connected on different
Mm-hmm.
sides. So that's what I probably would have done if I was Jody. I don't know
You're
why
so
taking
messy.
a yeah, just
Yeah,
putting like a stray vote on Jordan is not going to really hurt Tori in any
yeah, who
way.
cares? Like you got to throw in Tori if that's the case, you know what I mean? Like or like at least throw the vote on her to make the point. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't make a difference to anybody if they're not going to be going in it at all. So Kellyanne
Mhm.
throws a vote on Casey and Ben as well, which I also think was interesting, and Johnny and Grant, of course. And I'm like, well, Kellyanne, why wouldn't you also throw it on someone that has some votes? I mean, I guess you just didn't want to make any new enemies, but like, I'm confused about where Ben and Casey kind of came into the conversation as to be a person to throw votes on, you know? I was curious. Maybe
Yeah,
we'll find out.
it's weird. I think to me, like and obviously we haven't seen much, like, and I mean, Casey's typically pretty invisible in the edits anyways, but I feel like maybe some people look at Casey and Ben as kind of like a follower team, where it's
Mhm.
like they're just going to go where the numbers are, which is not inaccurate.
Uh,
And maybe they're like saying like, hey, like make a decision, don't go where the numbers are, or like we're going to put our shot on you. But
mhm.
again, like it doesn't, like you said, like these stray votes don't matter at all. So if it were
Pile them
me, I would
on.
probably, yeah, I'd go either big fish hunting or pile it on and hope for the best.
Pile it on, because like one thing that it seems to be the pattern is that as soon as there's somebody whose name has been said already, the next week it's easier to say their name again. So if Theo and Sarah get 5 votes but they don't go in, that's still 5 people that were willing to say their name. If one of those people that are being nominated this time come back, maybe they'll say that name the next time. I just think it opens some more doors as opposed to it just being the same people over and over again. Like maybe then Theo and Sarah might be an option. Not that I want them to go because they are part of the opposition, but I'm just saying strategically, I would probably try to get numbers on another team.
Yeah,
So it will
and
at least potentially matter.
for sure. So question for you: if
Mhm.
let's just say next week it goes kind of according to plan, like according to how the last few weeks have went, but the only difference is one of Jody or Kellyanne's teams are coming last in the daily. Who do you think replaces them as the House vote in that case? Like, who's the next team up if there is no like major change in the structure of the House? Do you think it's
If
yes?
no, just because Yes is on Team Australia right now. So I think they might try to chip away at England or UK before Australia. I think. So I think it would be Wes and
Yeah,
Zara are going to come back into the forefront and they'll start throwing them in until they get them out.
I think that will happen soon. They'll try.
But
I
not
don't think
next.
as early as next week. I think next week they would either look at Grant and John A or
I mean,
Yes
I'd love
and
that.
Stanley.
I'd love like Grant and John A playing the USA's game, and then they leave one after Kellyanne and Tristan. Like that would just be delicious.
Yeah.
Even though they're on my
Honestly,
teams, but
yeah, it could be Amber and Troy too. That
oh, I
might be an
forgot about
easy
them.
team to
That's
throw in.
easy. Get that one. That one for sure.
Yeah, that's
If they're gonna go for
unfortunate.
Australia.
I think next week it'll be another more straightforward week, and then the
Hmm.
game will open up. Um, hopefully I'm
Unless
wrong,
like
but
Kellyanne or Jody win, like maybe they'll be willing to make a move. Um, we'll see. We'll see. So Naya really doesn't want to go against her fellow countrymen. She's in the deliberation room. Well, not deliberation, but like the I don't know, the watch room with Wes and Zara. And we see in Wes's confessional that they're like, yeah, we'll do whatever we want. Like maybe yes, they want it to be their countrymen that they don't go up against, but we'll use that as an excuse if we need to. And I was just like, Wes is hilarious. I mean, it's true. Like, who cares what you want? Sorry, Naya. I'm gonna do what's gonna be best for my game. But like, if it's best for my game to give you what you want, but then say that as an excuse, I'm gonna do that. I love Wes. Did,
yeah, and like honestly, it was pretty straightforward. Like Wes said there, it's like Zara's not going to put in her own team. Like Tristan is part of the UK team. They're not going to put Tristan in. Wes is not going to directly put in Kellyanne, his ex-girlfriend. So pretty clear cut there. And if you put it the two Argentinian teams against each other, only one is coming back. So at worst, like yeah, you got two people in the house pissed off at you. Whereas like if you put in the UK team, like not only is Zara betraying one of her own, but there's likely going to be 3 teams that are pissed at you then. So
mm-hmm.
yeah, it was pretty easy decision and unfortunate for Naya, but not much she could have done there.
At all. She's not friends with them enough to like for them to really care that much. So Johnny does notice that Danny and Sarah are not really liking the Legends alliances. I hope that this comes to a head. Like I hope that like infighting happens and like Tori and Danny have to go down into the sand. Like, I don't know. I need for the MVPs to not be bullied and steamrolled by the legends. I need that to happen. And so I don't know how it's going to be resolved, but I just don't want to see another season of Tori getting to the end with Bananas and Casey, like, yawn.
It's going to take Theo and Sarah are going to have to win a daily. That's the easiest way, just because Tori's going to block Danny. Like, Justine is going to get blocked by Bananas. And then who's the other US team? Sarah, Theo, Danny, Tori, Bananas, and Ben and Casey. Like, I mean, Casey's just going to do what the house
Oh
wants
my
to
God,
do.
let's get rid of Ben and
Ben, like,
Casey at least. I don't know. At least.
yeah. So I think the best way to shake this up is Theo and Sarah win something, which they're definitely capable of doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, it's just going to be they need one of the two house votes to be someone other than like Jody, Kellyanne, Yes, or Amber. And all they need is one of the two. And if they can get one of the two in, one of those two to be like someone in the majority, at least then they go into elimination. If Theo and Sarah win, but it's tough. Like, they're
They're
gonna have to win
locked
in the
in.
next few weeks, right?
Yeah, they're not in a great position. Just for the fact that every single one of their partners are connected in a way that some of them are not going to want to mess with, right? We already know that Danny, his partner, Tori, connected with Jordan. We got Jordan, his partner, Kaz is connected with Theo. We got Theo and Sarah. Sarah, I mean, I don't know where her and Ben stand, but like there is a bit of a connection there. And I think she has a decent relationship with Justine. So I don't see her necessarily want to go for, say, Bananas in that scenario. I don't think that she's going to want to throw Justine down there to get at Bananas. I don't think so, but maybe. But I think the least setup would be Ben and Casey. Is that what I'm hoping for? I don't know. I don't know. It's
Yeah, I mean, I'd
frustrating.
definitely be happy with the two of them going at home. I think if I mean, ultimately, what you kind of have to do is maybe you don't take the shot directly at someone in the US, but you take the shot at Jordan and Kaz. Like, I think you just have to go after Jordan and Kaz here. And if you can get the right person to win the daily in the next week or two, then like you still have people like Kellyanne, Jonna, Amber, like Darrell that are potentially willing to vote with you. But if the right person doesn't win the daily soon, they're going to lose that chance where they have the votes
Mm-hmm.
to send in those someone like Jordan there.
It's risky. I mean, it's not likely. It's risky as in like for
Yeah,
our enjoyment. Like it's just I don't know if we're gonna get that. I'm not sure.
yeah.
Because Daddy and Sarah, they all conceded and they're like they went with their partner. One thing that Michelle was asking, and I didn't really know the answer. Maybe you do. Do the teams have to come to an agreement with their vote, like vote as a team, rather than getting their own personal vote and voting for two separate teams? Like, what do you think what the deliberation is going on there?
It seems like, yes, it's one vote as the team, just because we've only really heard one person from each team speak. Um, so I imagine that you just get one vote per team, but I wish it was one per person. It would make things way more enjoyable, and I mean, like, we're losing out on a lot of drama here by not having individual votes. And I do imagine, just based off of like how Danny and Sarah and a few others were talking tonight, I do think if they had their own votes, they would have at least tried something here.
Absolutely. Maybe
And
that's why.
then,
Maybe production doesn't want them to be able to win because they want their legends in the game,
yeah,
right?
I think that's it. I just don't understand. Like, why would production care? It's like a 12 episode season. If
Yeah, these people
Bananas goes home in
always
episode
win.
5, like,
They win all the time. It's
also, like, they're
fine.
gonna be back next season. Like,
I
we're gonna see
know.
Casey's 4 confessionals next season too. Why do we need to see it for an extra 8 episodes here?
Just to see her like smiling, be like, yeah, like in one scene every episode. So annoying. But Danny and Sarah, they and Justine are all talking about how they're basically at a stalemate with the legends here, but they gave in this time around and they didn't rock the boat. But next week, Sarah's like, it's going to be our way. So I hope that she makes that happen, because that will be fun. I want to see that Sarah like going up against them, being like, we're getting our way. That's the attitude that I want to see happen. So we have our club night. Kiki talking about how she feels like she's at like a family member's party and she doesn't really know anybody, but they have to go. I thought it was kind of funny. Danny talking to Bananas, and he was just basically saying that he doesn't trust the legends. There's no trust between the legends and him, anyways. And he's probably speaking for the MVPs. But Bananas saying that there's actually no master plan. There's no. He has no plan as to like who's going to be eliminated and how they're going to get to the end. Do you believe Bananas when he says this? Because like no master plan to me would say there's no preseason alliance. I think there's a preseason alliance.
Yeah. Do you think I believe Bananas? Definitely not. I do not believe Bananas. As you can tell, as the listeners can probably tell, I'm not a big Bananas fan right now. Yeah, I don't believe him at all. I mean, these people just work together. Basically, like, I mean, 5 of these people worked together last season. Nobody took a shot at anyone. They all knew they were coming on this season. Like, maybe they didn't come up with this big plan on like who to target first, second, third, but you're not targeting each other. That's a plan. Like if you're working with 5 teams and you know you're working with them before the season, like that's pretty much a plan. Like you're working with West. You're not putting in West, Jordan, Casey, Tori. Like that's a pre-alliance, and
it's like an
I get it.
unspoken
It's like
rule is a plan.
yeah, exactly. And like just the fact that they're using the numbers to their advantage, which smart if you want to get to the end, but really bad if you're trying to enjoy a television show. Um, that's like I understand why they're doing it. I don't believe him at all. And I loved Danny in that conversation, just not backing down, like not being scared of the vets. And I mean, he's telling it how it is. Like he knows what's going on. He's seen the show. He understands how this works. And like Danny is not scared of these people. So honestly, what I hope happens is Danny and Tori win a daily, and Danny says, like, I'm not voting this person in. Tori, you're joining me, or we're going down and we're going in the sand. I don't know
Yeah,
if it would
force
happen.
her hand. I wonder
Like
if
if it's
Danny's
like
mad at Kiki for making him pick Tori, because he's probably like, damn it, with Tori
I would just
now.
love it. I would love it if like say like Jordan or Bananas or not West. I like West too much, but Jordan or Bananas or Casey's team, they somehow lose the daily. Danny and Tori win, and it's between like Kellyanne and Tristan or Bananas and Justine. And Danny just says like, I'm throwing in Bananas. Tori says, no, I'm not putting in Bananas. I want Kellyanne in. And then Danny says, all right, I'm putting you against Jordan, and I'll go in against Jordan too. And just like, what does Tori do then? She's obviously not going to go in against Jordan. So then Danny wins there. So I hope something like that happens. Pretty unlikely, but if anyone is going to do it, I do think it would be Danny.
Yeah, he's not afraid. Like he just won some money. Like, he's just be like, I'm coming in to play my own game. I want to see if I can make something happen here. And so I think one thing that he knows is like how to make good, like be on a TV show. Like CBS is a little bit different than the MTV version, because like they have less time to be exciting, entertaining, to get that callback. They don't usually get the callback automatically. Like, if there's going to be another season of Survivor, that's going to be many down the road where there's going to be maybe a heroes versus villains, or like, I don't know, some sort of returning season. So it's like he doesn't have another season to be playing or to be playing for. He's playing for this one right now. And I like that. I like that he's like, I don't care about your preseason alliance and what your alliances you have for your next season of your next show. I'm playing my season right now because I want to win this one. So I'm hoping that he will dig his heels in and like make Tori have to acquiesce to what he wants. Please,
Yeah.
please,
Do you think
please.
Danny would ever go over to the main show or no?
I think maybe because he was the fan of the challenge, and no, his wife was the fan of the challenge. Yeah, I think he would. The only thing is it's long. That's the only thing that
Yeah.
make me hesitant. But I think that he would consider it heavily.
Yeah, because that would be awesome. Just because, like, I think that, I mean, after seeing this already with Bananas, like, we know, I'm sure the rest of the season, like, Danny will clash with some of these vets and hopefully be able to make some moves. But I think what we really need to see is this, like, Danny versus Fessy in some
Yeah.
form, like Fessy trying to like step up to Danny. Like, Danny's not going to be scared of Fessy, and Danny will be better than Fessy too, which will really humble him. So we really need
Yay!
to see that. Danny, if Danny's listening, let us know. Would you ever do the MTV show? Because that would be so much fun for
So it's
us.
the only reason why I would ever want Fessy on my screen again was to know that Danny was going to be taking him out at some point in some sort of physical elimination.
Yeah.
So Kellyanne and Tristan are a little slightly worried about potentially going into the arena here. And Kellyanne doesn't think she would be able to handle it. And neither with Tristan, because Zara's team is team UK. So if Zara throws them down, like that really, really blows. And then if Wes, the ex-partner of Kellyanne, throws them down, like it would just be a double blow to both of them. I didn't think that was going to happen, but I mean, I didn't think that it was going to be a smart idea for Johnny to throw her in. So, I mean, she's probably a little bit worried that her relationships are not as strong as she thought. Poor Kellyanne. So we get
Mhm.
down to the arena and we learn that Bryony is going to be hosting the elimination as well because TJ is at a BMX Hall of Fame induction, which is awesome. We saw a little clip of TJ at the podium accepting his I don't know, award type thing, his plaque, whatever it is that they actually get. It's pretty cool because I remember like being like thinking that it was cool when he first came over to MTV, and then he had that wild accident where he didn't think that he was going to be able to be rehabilitated and be able to host anymore, and it just was really nice to see full circle because we have been with TJ also for like almost 20 years, so we've seen quite a bit of his life.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was really cool. And I think I had heard somewhere that TJ was inducted to the Hall of Fame there, which is like awesome. I know he hasn't been biking obviously in 10 years or so, but yeah, that was awesome. So congrats to him. And if you're gonna miss an elimination, I mean, you got a good reason there.
Absolutely. Very, very good reason. So, no surprise to me in the end, but Benha and Jody are going to be the ones that are going in to play Oiled Up against Naya and Rodrigo. So basically they had big vats of oil, a couple of buckets, and they had to climb up an incline and dump their oil into the other bucket to kind of raise the level to a line. It was an okay elimination. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I didn't love it. I thought, like, I mean, it was fine. Again, it was like something different. So I can appreciate when they try something we haven't seen before or haven't seen much. I'm sure we've seen similar things in the past, none that I can really recall, but yeah, it wasn't great. And I mean, once like Naya and Rodrigo spilt one of their buckets, it was kind of like game over. Like their thing was just too slippery. Like
Yeah.
they couldn't really get up.
Well, and also Rodrigo
Um,
had his leg injury. And so that was also troublesome. And we see him sliding down, and then like I was just wincing the whole time, like, oh, like not great, not great. I felt bad because I didn't want either team to lose, to be honest. Um,
mhm.
but for my draft, I wanted Naya and Rodrigo to stay. Um, but yeah, it sucked. As soon as they dropped all the oil, it was really hard. And like Naya was filling it up to the brim. And so when
Mhm.
that was happening, when they're going up, there's just keep on putting this slippery oil on the surface that they need to walk up, making it extra difficult for them to be able to accomplish this. But yeah, Jody and
Yeah.
Benha do take this W here. No surprise
Yeah,
there.
I think for me, I didn't really have a rooting interest. I mean, I like both teams. but I think I probably prefer Jody and Benha staying.
Make more of a waves not
Just because
tied to Jordan. Yeah.
yeah, like Naya's like sort of an extra number for like the Jordan Tory side, I would imagine. Plus, the dynamic between Jody and Benha was pretty funny. Not this episode, but the episode prior, and even this episode early on. I think
I love she's just
she
like,
made some sort of remark like, "I don't even know what he's doing,"
yeah, I don't
um,
even know where my
and then
partner
it
is. He's
and then it showed
meditating.
him. Yeah, so I think their dynamic is pretty funny. So I definitely think they're still in a lot of danger as that kind of like lone wolf team, the only Argentinian team left.
But
Um,
they might not
but
be dangerous at all anymore, right? So we can hope that people start collecting numbers. Like we know that
yeah,
Wes loves collecting numbers of people that are not in the main alliance, right? He wants everybody that's on the outside. So if he brings in Kellyanne and Tristan, and then brings in Benha and Jody, and starts like collecting his numbers that way, with Sarah and Danny and their team kind of coming in with them, like we might be able to do something here. So Jody's not, she's ready to make a move. And so, because she knows that if she
oh yeah,
doesn't win, she's going to be thrown in again. So she wants to break this up right away. So hopefully they will use this as an opportunity to like make a bigger move, just a bigger one.
I think, yeah, and I could see them lasting like a couple more weeks. I do think like they might find themselves in the bottom two a bunch, just as like an easy team there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what Jody needs to do now is like you got to try to swing Darrell onto your side. I think
Mm-hmm.
Darrell and Kiki are potentially a team that would be willing to make a move.
Right,
Um,
because
and I
Kiki
know Darrell
doesn't
mentioned,
love Emily, right? And I know that they're going to be Australia strong, but like if they could take out Kiki, like, or sorry, if Kiki could take out Emily, and yes, I could see that not making too many waves on like the USA side. So that could be an interesting
yeah,
option.
yeah, I just think like if the main alliance also has people like Darrell and Yes, then like we're in big trouble. Like all the outsiders are in big trouble if like they have these people that are just like willing to throw their vote with whoever they want. Yeah, I mean Argentina, like they're not going to win. Like there's
It's
no way
impossible.
Jody is going to win this.
She can't get to
But
the end. It's impossible.
yeah, if she can make it another like honestly 2 weeks, like I'd be pretty impressed.
Hmm.
Um, But yeah, she really needs to like either win something or like swing someone
Big.
big onto her side, whether it's a Wes or Darrell or someone like that.
I think all the above. I think I'm wondering. I mean, Wes is a good enough player that I think that he'll realize that he was in a bit of danger, and so hopefully he's going to figure out how to retaliate appropriately. So my fingers are crossed. It looks like it's going to be MVP versus the Legends next episode, and Sarah is going to play nice for now, but she isn't dumb. So I really hope that them showing us so much of this resistance that something will actually happen. There will be a revolt. People will go against the legends of this in this game. So Michelle gave us her votes for MVP. Who are you feeling?
Well, I was gonna actually say I don't think we actually gave away MVPs last week.
I know I was
Because I know
thinking
we
that, and
were
I
a
was
bit
like, maybe
rushed.
we did, but maybe we didn't. I was like, I couldn't
No, I
remember.
don't think we did, but I
Who
feel like it would have been like unanimous to Kellyanne.
Okay, so maybe I just thought that we just unanimously did Kellyanne. Okay, so we'll do Kellyanne for last week. I think I put it because I put it.
Yeah,
Let
because
me
I feel
look
like
my spreadsheet. I think I put Kellyanne in, but continue.
yeah. I don't know if we actually did, but I think it was pretty obvious that we would have just all picked Kellyanne.
Hmm.
This week, I think is actually interesting. Um, I think Benha is definitely up there. Like he didn't lose the daily, like obviously was put into elimination, but it was like pretty like it was a mob mentality that got him in. So he didn't really do
Hmm.
anything wrong there. Like Jody was good, a little bit quieter than Benha. Um, honestly, like I'm just so impressed with the fact that like Sarah and Danny are not like doing what most rookies do and just like suck up to the vets. Like that to me, like is just so much more impressive than like winning an elimination. Like the fact that they're like, I know they had to vote with them today, but
Mhm.
they're not scared.
Yeah.
They're
She's
not
won a
being what
million bucks.
90% of
She's
these rookies
good.
are.
She's coming to win because
Yeah.
she doesn't need the money,
Yeah.
Not
So for
need it.
me, like Wes and Zara were good. Wes was really funny, but I I'm gonna I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm gonna I'm gonna give it to Sarah. Just because like a few weeks ago, I think I gave her an honorable mention as well. And I think it was shut down by most by you, Michelle, in the chat. Um, but I'm gonna go back to Sarah. I think she's doing really well. I know I'm probably not gonna like her much later on.
I don't know if I
Um,
can get behind her for this episode. I do agree that she's giving some resistance, but she didn't win the daily and she didn't get who she wanted into the arena. So, as much as she is kind of pushing back and she's not letting people walk all over her, she didn't make any active moves that came to fruition this particular episode. So, as much as I see promise in her potentially being an MVP, personally, I don't feel like this episode she deserves the honor.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. And I think the main reason I'm saying Sarah is just because I've watched Sarah now on 5 seasons of TV, and this is the first time I'm ever enjoying her. So
Okay.
the fact that I'm enjoying her now for the first time in 7 years and 5 seasons, I'm just gonna give her that MVP. I know she's not
In
gonna
your
win
head.
it, but
Okay.
yeah, just
Just
if
for
she ever
your
comes
own
across
vote.
this, yeah, she knows that I gave her a little bit of love here.
You got a
So good
little bit
job,
left.
Sarah.
I do agree with like that she did a pretty good job, and I'm liking her the most out of any season that I've seen her in. So I agree with you there. I just don't. Maybe next week she'll get the MVP if like what she wants to happen actually does happen. Then maybe I will, think that she deserves it. But this week, so Michelle said Wes and Zara were her two people. No, Ben Hans and
Oh,
Wes.
I think she
Yeah,
said
Ben Han.
Benha, and I can't remember if she said Wes or
It had to have been
Zara.
Wes. I think she would say Wes.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to give it to Wes for the dive roll. And being the only person that was able to get through the closing wall. Um, he was in a lot of danger from what the edit was showing us. I don't know if he knew how much danger he was, but he was able to completely evade the swing that was coming for him by most of the people in the house. And he wins pretty much single-handedly. I mean, we know that Zara helped him by holding people back, but was the only person that got through. And he got a team out that is not working with him. So I think that he would be my MVP pick. And so I guess it's Westy Wes. Are you okay with it?
Yeah, fair. I'm good with it. Yeah, it makes sense, and I mean, obviously did well, and he evaded some danger. I'm hesitant to believe he was in tremendous danger, but yeah, I mean, at the
They
end of
might
the
have taken
day,
the swing,
Wes was, yeah.
He's on Team UK, so they're not going to be as like worried about swinging at Wes as they would be at someone from USA. Yes, Dreadful Ruby. We are also disappointed thinking that about MTV people being on USA. I want them separate entities, and I am a challenge stan, but I want them to be separate. I'm fine with Global being mixed up like this. Whatever, it's annoying, but it's fine. But I do wish that, like, why couldn't they just bring more people from the global, like the different global places, and just actually have it be a global championship?
Yeah, oh, you mean for this season? Like
Yeah.
I don't necessarily mind that they brought in the legends for this, but I
Well, maybe the
don't like
legends
them
that they
bringing
brought.
yeah, well, the legends they brought were not great, but I think for the CBS one, the USA, like why not just if you're gonna bring in vets, why don't you bring the vets from CBS? Like you got Michelle, Jay, Natalie, Michaela, Polly, Davon, Natalie, like there's a ton of them. Like bring them there and
I
then
think they
like
wanted
let
people that
them
were winners and finalists.
Yeah, guess. I guess that could be it. But I mean, I don't know. We'll see what when the cast comes out. How many people from MTV are on
It's like
there? I
I
hope
think it's
it's
like
not.
6 or 8. I think what I heard was Casey, Tori, Bananas, Nani, Anissa, Zach. I think that's it. That's all I can remember anyways. I think those are the people that have been
Yeah,
rumored to be on CBS. I mean, yeah, CBS USA. Sorry. Ugh,
I don't. I just don't understand. Like, why are you Zach on CBS? Makes no sense. Like, this guy is like, he's a maniac. He's like
dirt.
very. I don't even know how to word it. He's insensitive to
Polarizing.
say the least. Yeah,
Like
very
he's
polarizing. Like, you want to bring him to a more family friendly show, then people are going to start YouTubing and Googling Zach
but you know
Nichols, and
what
they're going to
though?
not like what they find.
I mean, obviously his actions have been, abhorrent, but he remember when his first season, he was super Christian and super Christian values, and like that was who he was coming from a very religious background, which is, I would say more in alignment with CBS, right? The Christian angle.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Anyways, those
potentially.
networks love the Christians. Not, I mean, I was
Yeah.
born Christian or baptized Christian, so like I understand it a little bit, but like Zach,
Yeah,
oh,
I don't know what the I don't know what the church would think about Zach calling women swamp donkeys, but
I mean, not me neither.
yeah. Yeah, I'm not super excited if Zach is really gonna be there. If like we're just gonna get Tori and Isanani again, like bananas again. Not excited about that. I would only hope that means if they're doing this, that they're not doing 39, but I'm sure they're all gonna do 39 too. Maybe not Zach, but yeah, the rest of them will probably be back on 39.
Why? Why are they doing this, Matthew? Please help me understand. Why are they ruining my favorite show from all angles? Right? Like we were getting used to finally, like, okay, we're like, oh, I can watch the CBS the version as a completely separate entity. And like that was kind of fun seeing new players that we know already going in and playing the game that we both love. And then now they're bringing in the MTV people onto this season. I'm like, okay, fine. I can get behind that a little bit. But now they're it's just too much contamination. Like keep them separate. Please. Keep them
Yeah, and
separate.
the thing about to Ruby's points, like the funny thing about Anissa is, I mean, she's been doing the show for like the better part of 20 years, and she's been on a bunch of the more recent seasons, and then she went over to All Stars 1, and she came in last in the
Do I
final. Like
see
she lost
Josh? I think
to
that's Josh. I think Josh is part of this as well.
I
Devin.
yeah, so this cast list, I heard that this cast list was
Fake?
it was a fake list.
Okay.
Um which I'm hoping
True.
is the case. But yeah, like Anissa came in last in the All Stars 1 final. Could you imagine Anissa goes to USA and loses a final to like these Love Island girls and like Big D? Um, like it would just be like you're doing more harm than good if you're going to a bunch of rookies. Like you're gonna make the final and still lose. Just don't know. Like, what are you getting out of this, Anissa?
Inside scoop for the official podcast. Yeah,
Yeah.
we hope it's fake too, Dreadful Ruby. We do, we do, we do. Anyways, well, that is pretty much it for this episode. Sorry to end on such a sour note of our dismay over the Challenge USA potential cast list. But even though I complain about seasons, I still enjoy them and I will still watch them and I will still cover them because I still like them more than I like a lot of other things. So, yes, it may sound like I'm being miserable, but I still love the challenge. And even this season is still pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I was doing a bit of a Reddit dive into the
Oh,
challenge Reddit a few days ago, and
brave.
someone had posted something where they said like, why do so many people complain about the challenge? Just stop watching. And I was thinking about that, and I wrote back. I made a comment back to this post, and I said, "Hey, like, if the reason people complain is because we love this show. Like we continue to something will change because like everyone loves like when there's a change in power. Like that's what's exciting about the show. And eventually it happens, but like sometimes like it is a couple seasons where it's a little boring. But like the reason we keep watching and the reason we love the show is we love the people, like a lot of the people on it, and eventually when they do get that power that power change, it's
Mhm.
going to be that much sweeter, right? So like I'm hopeful even for this season. Like there is going to be a week or a week where things change.
Mhm.
And the fact that Danny and Sarah and others are talking about that now, they're not going to air that unless something will happen later on. So eventually, I'm very confident that we will see some sort of overthrow of power. And
Mhm.
that's why we keep watching. That's why we keep talking about it. And that's why we love the show because it is sometimes it's predictable, but the unpredictable parts are so sweet
So
and they're
sweet.
worth waiting for.
Even if it's like one episode that's really good in a season, it's worth watching 22 other episodes or whatever. Like
And
it,
yeah, and even if it goes against someone we it's like do you remember when Veronica and Dirty 30 like pulled the rug under Leroy?
I
Like
don't fully remember,
that
but like almost. I almost remember.
yes. So Veronica like fully like swapped like she changed the whole vote around. There was like six people voting someone into elimination, and Brittany burned a vote on Leroy. And Veronica said,
Yes.
"You know what? I'm gonna vote for Leroy too. And if Leroy, it's either gonna be Leroy going in or one of us is going in." And then they had to vote for Leroy, and Leroy went home. But it was so sweet just to see Veronica, who was like talked down to by some of the men in the house, was
Mhm.
underestimated, like got to make this huge power move. And like power moves on the challenge are sweeter than anything like in any other show. Like Survivor blindsides are nice. Big Brother like house flips are nice, but when you can completely change like 10 years worth of power in one vote, it's the
Oh,
sweetest thing. So
so
now we can end
good.
on a positive note because it will
Yes.
happen at some
And a
point.
super sticker from Lena.
Yeah,
Thank you. Positive note.
extra positive.
Extra positive. Willie's also saying, like, I like the challenge because I can see the gameplay and I can see my favorite players in the season. Absolutely. Like we want to see people play this game. And we complain when we see the people who we know their gameplay and what they're going to do, and all the people that we're excited to see maybe do something different ends up falling in line and just playing the gameplay that we've seen for the past few episodes or few seasons. Sorry. So that's all we're looking for. We just want to see people play and not get locked into these big alliances and these big preseason like gaming strategy. Like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to protect each other. Like, we like seeing the unpredictable parts of it. But I will always go back and watch. It's like pizza. All pizza is good pizza. Even bad pizza is good pizza. All the challenge is good the challenge. But really good the challenge is like, mwah. It's amazing. So, on that note, please, everybody, do us a big favor. Can you give us the video a thumbs up? Like it, please. It helps the YouTube algorithm. And leave a comment as to why do you continue watching? Because we all do complain about it. What is your reasonings behind why you continue to watch all the different iterations of the challenge? Why do you keep on coming back? Why is the audience still there? Let us know in the comments. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. We're building a community of people that love complaining about the challenge because we love it that much. Until next week, see y'all.